Is the idea of another stimulus check burning a hole in your wallet? Here are 5 sports cars you can buy with the money the government is about to send you. How's it going? Hope you're staying safe and have everything you need. It looks like the government is about to send out a second round of stimulus checks because of all the craziness that is 2020. Depending on what ends up being the final deal, and it looks pretty sure that there is going to be a deal, it's just what that deal will be. Most Americans can expect a check somewhere between $1,000 and $5,000. That of course depends on your income level, on your own situation as far as dependents and whether you're married, filed jointly, all that kind of stuff. But that is about what it looks like you're gonna have. So as long as you've got a steady job and you've got all this cash in your wallet, what better thing to do than to add a sports car to the garage? So here are 5 sports cars that you can actually get that range between $1,000 and $5,000. Here's car number 1, the Porsche 924. Yes, for as little as $1,000, you could be driving a Porsche. Now, $1,000 will get you an example with needs. My first Porsche was a 924. I bought it for $200 at auction, and it did run and drive, it just had an oil leak. But at $5,000 and maybe a bit more, you're going to get a much better car. However, if you only have $1,000, you can find 924s in that rough price range. You just have to keep your eyes open. Now, the one to go for, if you can swing it, is a 924S because its engine is from a Porsche 944. That'll be a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder engine that was actually made and produced by Porsche. The normal 924 comes with an engine that was from VW Audi. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that can be found in a lot of other cars, including a van. And especially in the United States, it does not have much power. The emission regulations really strangled the 924. It wasn't super powerful even in Europe, but it really lacks power in the United States. Now here's car number 2, the C4 Corvette. The mid-80s and early 90s Corvette has sleek styling, but it's not the most popular with enthusiasts at this time. Had a lot of cool things about it, such as a digital instrument cluster before it became the norm as it is in cars now. However, some of that 80s technology is a little finicky, so you might have things that you have to work on, and the interior doesn't tend to hold up great. But at the heart of it, you do have a V8 engine that in most cases doesn't pump out a ton of power because it was the 80s, but a decent amount of power, especially for the time. And hey, you got a car that you can take to car shows and be proud of. For a decent running C4 Corvette, expect to pay between $3,500 and $5,000. Right in that range, you can get a C4 Corvette that's a good running driver. It may have some needs, but overall you'll be able to drive it and enjoy it. Less than that and you're gonna have a definite project car, which can be fun, but it will be a lot of work and it'll eventually add to the price. And of course, pristine examples will be well over the $5,000 mark, as will be the case with every car on this list. But you can find examples in that price range and burn some rubber. Now here's car number 3, the Porsche 944. Now the 944 is the quintessential 80s Porsche entry-level vehicle. It is on movies such as 16 Candles, and similar to the 924S, you're going to get the same power plant, a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder engine. 0 to 60 isn't going to be very fast, especially in the cars that you'd be able to get in this price range. You're going to probably get an early car, an 83, 84, 85, before 85 and a half when they redid the interior. These early cars, I had an 83 and it was a great car. I owned it for 5 years with very little problems and the maintenance wasn't very big. It had about 150,000 miles on it and was running great even when I sold it. And you can find good drivable Porsche 944s anywhere from $25,000 to about $5,000 for these early cars. And if you want something more powerful like the S2, or turbo, it's obviously going to cost you a lot more. Or if you want a nicer condition car that's not going to have any needs at all, just pristine, those are getting more and more valuable. But you can still get cars that are a little rough around the edges, but can be brought up to good condition for under $5,000. And the great thing about the 944 is it shares a lot of parts with Volkswagen and Audi, so they're a little cheaper than other Porsche parts, so you're not necessarily going to pay as much as you would with another Porsche. And here's car number 4, the Mazda Miata. As many will tell you, the answer is always Miata. You can get an early Mazda Miata a two-seater, open-aired sports car that is great for going around the curves, similar to the 924 and 944, very much about momentum and taking the curves. Cars start as low as $2,000, and there are a lot of them, so you can be a little bit of a picky buyer. As you get closer to the $5,000 range, you can even get into the second generation, which lacks the pop-up headlights, which, you know, some people like the styling of the new one, some people don't, but there are some nicer amenities inside. It's a little bit nicer interior, just a little more modern. But no matter what, you get a car that has great handling, and hey, especially at the lower price range, you can get into things like spec Miata racing, which is just a lot of fun and relatively inexpensive as far as racing goes. And here's car number 5, our final car. This is possibly the best sports car bargain when you consider what it originally cost and just how much car you get for the money. It's the Porsche Boxster. The early 986 Boxster from 1997 to 1999 model years. You can get these cars from between $4,000 and $5,000. That's pocket change. If you have a couple of kids, you definitely have that in your stimulus. And for that, you get a flat 6 mid-engine sports car that allows for open-air driving, and magazines at the time were able to go 0 to 60 in 6 seconds flat. Certainly faster than just about everything on this list. The only one that will come close is the C4 Corvette, depending on year you get in the C4 Corvette and which one. But the whale of that flat 6 engine above 5,000 RPMs is intoxicating. But really, the Boxster, just like the 924, the 944, and the Miata, is a momentum car. It just has a bit more power than the others on this list at 201 horsepower in the early 986 form. Take it on a curvy road and enjoy. That is the key with the Boxster. There's not a ton of engine modification that you can do to add more power, but it has just the right amount of power and balance to be a lot of fun at legal speeds on the road. Plus, it's a pretty light sports car. If you'd like to see how much I spent on maintenance on a Porsche Boxster over a 5-year period, check out this video. Otherwise, check out the other video that YouTube recommends. And make sure to get down in the comments, let us know which one of these cars you would use your stimulus check on. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so that you can see more videos as we talk about affordable sports cars, living with them, and taking care of them. Now get out there and drive.